just on its own. Mind Crank is an uncommon from New Phyrexia, and it says it's a 2 casting cost artifact. Whenever an opponent loses life, that player puts that many cards from the top of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So once the Bloodchief Ascension is active, it's an infinite combo, because they if they put a card in their graveyard from anywhere, they will lose 2 life from Bloodchief Ascension, which then triggers the Mind Crank to have that player put 2 cards from the top of their library into their graveyard, which then triggers the Ascension again 2 more times. So it's infinite.
Well, meanwhile here,
they've already
got rock and rolling here. We've got Vampire Lacerator on Aadil's side. Aadil's side, thank you.
But just blocked
the second Goblin Guide that Dean played.
Right, so looks like Dean led off with a Goblin Guide, swung in. Aadil played Vampire Lacerator. Dean plays a second Goblin Guide, goes in with both Lacerator, blocks one. Now Aadil plays a Pulse Tracker and a Lightning Bolt for the second Goblin Guide. So
behind his lands, notable.
Oh yeah. Aadil in for 2 with the Pulse Tracker, or 1 and 1, however you want to think about it. Mind Crank, I like the art on Mind Crank.
Yeah, the art is fantastic.
Chris Ron, a new favorite of mine.
Here comes a Bloodghast from Aadil's side.
And Dean looks like he's going with Arc Trail. Take out both of those vampires. So we've got a clear board here. Dean, though, with twice as many lands as Aadil. And there's a Vampire Lacerator and a Pulse Tracker.
Vampire doesn't need very many lands to operate.
That's true. It's one of the advantages to playing this kind of deck. And
yeah.
He has Bloodchief Ascension, he just didn't play it. There's some discussion on whether Goblin Guide should go in Vampires, I think. Not serious discussion, just some confusion, I think.
There's a Revoker.
Phyrexian Revoker. Haven't seen that get as much play as I originally expected.
Can we figure out what was named with Revoker?
Yeah. Do we know what was named with Phyrexian Revoker? Rashad? Phyrexian Revoker. What was named? Tumble Magnet.
Seems good.
Not relevant, it looks like. No Tumble Magnets in the 150 cards on these deck lists.
Well, hey, you know.
But
doesn't seem like a bad thing to name.
Not relevant because he just blocked anyway. And Lava Claw reaches coming over to Rumble.
Yeah, Lava Claw reaches.
So Dean has 2 mountains, a swamp, a Dragon Skull Summit, and a Lava Claw Reaches. Man, some of these lands are getting out of hand with the names. Like, I can't remember what they are because they all look so similar to me. Like Blackcleave Cliffs. Now it's tough to say. A lot of cold cliffs. Anyway,
is that his 3rd Bloodghast?
I'm trying to see. Oh, doesn't matter. I think Dean just scooped him up. I didn't see what that card was, but I guess Dean just didn't have it.
Yeah.
Aadil with a lot of threats on board.
Kept putting pressure on, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of pressure, and Dean couldn't deal with it. But now Dean knows what he's up against. Let's see what he thinks.
I have a feeling
you were going to talk about the deck list, because I only just described the combo. So obviously Ascension goes live, and Mind Crank. It's an infinite combo.
Might I just say that this might be the first time we see Mental Misstep, because...
It may be the first time. This is the first time we're seeing it in standard on SCG Live right now, right?
You know what I mean, like today.
You mean this is the only time we'll see Mental Misstep today? Is that what you're saying?
No, probably not, but this is the first time this is definitely going to be boarded in as a
Oh,
form.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, Mental Misstep.
There are four missteps in Dean's sideboard here.
Okay, so talk about the deck.
So yeah, the deck is 4 Goblin Guide, 4 Bloodghast, 4 Phyrexian Revoker, 4 Hideous End, 4 Stagger Shock, 3 Volt Charge, 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 Arc Trail, 4 Bloodchief Ascension, and 3 Mind Crank. And then his lands suite, which he does have 2 Dark Slick Shores.
Yeah, for the Mental Misstep, just to have the possibility of paying the blue if he
Or
wants.
the Spell Skites in his sideboard as well. He's
Right.
got 3 Geth's Verdict, 4 Manic Vandal, 4 Mental Misstep, and 4 Spell Skite in the sideboard.
Yeah, the interesting Geth's Verdict is a card that I think not a lot of people are really talking about. It's nothing super exciting, but I like the fact that we have an instant speed Edict again.
And they lose a life off of it.
Right. So, I mean, we had Diabolic Edict back in Tempest, and I loved playing with that card. I loved being able to just kill their creature, have them sacrifice, kill a pro-black creature.
Yeah.
So Geth's Verdict is black. Target player sacrifices a creature, they lose 1 life, and it's an instant. So I like that. And obviously this deck can make use of it. Volt Charge is another one that I think we're going to see a lot of.
Yeah.
It's the 3 casting cost Lightning Bolt variant, but it has Proliferate, and that's obviously really good with Bloodchief Ascension. So I think that's we're going to see a lot more of that. I'm surprised he's not running a full 4 just to have
Of the Mind Crank?
of the Volt Charge.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, you're right. He doesn't even play full 4 Mind Crank, so it's almost like he's a black-red kind of aggro deck that happens to have a combo in it. Like it's an interesting list, I guess.
Well, note that all of the creatures deal 2, and like Hideous End deals 2. You know what I mean? Every spell he plays that isn't the combo
it helps.
deals 2 somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right. Stagger Shock deals it twice. I love how Stagger Shock just triggers, like it puts 2 counters on the Ascension by itself.
Yeah, or you can Stagger Shock. Never mind. Forget it. I was gonna say something else, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, you can Stagger Shock, right, at the end of their turn, during your upkeep, Stagger Shock again, that's 2 counters on Bloodchief Ascension, and then play Volt Charge.
Right. Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know?
That's right, because it's 3 counters on Bloodchief.
Volt Charge killing, like, one of their guys, and
I
then
always forget it's
Proliferate.
3 counters.
Yeah, I always do, too. For some reason, I keep thinking it's 2.
Me too. In fact, there's a lot of 2s on the card.
Yeah. But as far as what he brings in, like you said, Mental Misstep seems good against vampires.
The billion 1-drops.
Yeah. Then again, he's already got a pretty good main deck against vampires. Maybe cut the Phyrexian Revokers, but I don't know. That he might need them for the
15 1-drops main
in the vampires list.
for Aadil, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get to see some Mental Misstep action. I'm excited to see that. It'll be the first time I get to see Mental Misstep played here.
Certainly don't think Aadil would be expecting it.
Right.
Playing against a black-red deck.
Yeah, just confirmed from Twitter, because I thought this too when I saw it quickly off of the glare, was that the last card that Aadil played was Vampire Hexmage, which obviously stops the combo.
Got it.
Don't know if Aadil is aware that Dean is playing this deck. I mean, if he's seen these kind of lists, then I honestly have only seen the combo. I haven't seen any lists. So this may be already something that people are. This may be like kind of a stock list using this combo.
Right.
I just had not yet seen any.
Maybe he saw a guide in a Revoker main and
figured out what it was.
on.
Right.
Yeah.
But if not, he may have boarded out the Hex Mages, thinking doesn't look like any Planeswalkers in that list. Hex Mages may be there for Jason.
Right.
So it'll be that's an interesting question. But yeah, that was Hex Mage that was played. All right, so
Getting the game two
Dean
here.
leads with a Lava Claw Reaches. Passes the turn to Aadil, who goes with a Swamp and Pulse Tracker.
Misstep. Does he have it? He does!
He does! Mental misstep for the Pulse Tracker.
Yes!
There it is.
You got to see a mental misstep happen. In standard, no less. We're going to see enough of it tomorrow.
And the Blood Gas.
Suspect.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of it tomorrow, but I'm excited to see it in standard anyway.
Yeah.
And,
It's no, it's not.
yeah, it's not Inquisition. It's, what's it called? Scry Guy.
Oh, yeah.
I was forgetting it's a name.
Scry guy. This receiver.
That's it, yeah. So, it looks like a vampire mirror right now.
I know, right?
Not at all, but not at all actually a mirror. So, Viscera Seer in for one. And looks like an Arc Trail. No, not Arc Trail. I mean, Highborn. Arc Trail is in his hand. Lava Claw Reaches comes into play for a deer. And Dean untaps his Bloodghast, draws for the turn. Looks like he's getting in with Bloodghast. And taps 3 for Volt Charge on the Colostria Highborn. Nothing to proliferate. Obviously, Aadil scried with the Viscera Seer. Viscera Seer in for one.
At least on my end.
And now Dean now in again with the Bloodghast after Aadil plays a Blackcleave Cliffs and passes the turn. So this just looks like looking like an aggro kind of match right now. Would definitely like to see something happening with the combo, but I see a Stagger Shock in Dean's hand, but that's all I can see, and an Arc Trail in Aadil's hand.
Beats in for one with a mighty Seer.
And there is Skin Render. Obviously available to take out the Bloodghast, and it does. Stagger Shock. Didn't see who he targeted. I believe he targeted Aadil. And then, hit him twice with a Stagger Shock. And there's a Spellskite from Dean. Another new Phyrexia card. Now, interestingly enough, if Aadil had chosen to go mono black with vampires, he would have had things like Lash Writhe available to him, Phyrexian Obliterator. I'm also surprised he's not playing something like the Spies. I think the black-red version tends to just go with the burn rather than this card.
Right.
But, just want some of the options for vampires post-new Phyrexia. Seems like a different direction for the deck. I mean, if you don't want to play the black-red version. Phyrexian Obliterator is getting a lot of discussion. Some people think it's good, some people think it's bad. I know Curdy Spice was not impressed with it. He said, dump that card. He's like, if you have that card for a week, you're stupid, is what he said. I guess as far as the value of it. But I don't know. I'm not so convinced. So there's a Burst Lightning for the Spellskite. Kicked, obviously. And Aadil gets in for 4.
I'm guessing he took out a Bloodghast with the Skin Render?
Yeah, Skin Render hit the Bloodghast. And there's a bolt from Dean, and that looks like he hit Aadil. So Dean not afraid of the creatures. Looks like he's just more about, I'm gonna burn you to death. So plays a land, Bloodghast in for 2 more. Aadil now down to 4 life.
He's got a Stagger Shock in hand, Dean does, so end of turn, Stagger Shock, Stagger Shock.
That's
Seems good.
Pretty relevant, yeah. I can see why he went on the burn plan.
Aadil can only conceivably right now do 3, 4, 6 with a 3-2 reaches in there, or 7. I'm sorry.
What are you talking about? Like using the arc trail in his hand? Are you accounting for that? The arc, because he's got arc trail. So but then again, if he
7, 8, 9.
he can't arc trail unless he has a
can't
land.
arc trail and activate.
Yeah. Still, 9 isn't enough either.
Dean's pretty confident. He knows what he's going to do.
Yeah, he knows his plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, if whatever Aadil does threatens that that plan, he can use that stagger shock on something else.
Right.
In for 4.
My friend Katie, who doesn't play Magic, is apparently watching because she commented, "Crank that soldier boy, LOL."
Well, pulse tracker, and then pass the turn. Dean chose him to stagger shock.
Yeah.
So we got a tie game. Just fingers crossed. I want to see Dean try to get the combo off.
Right.
I haven't seen one piece of the combo. I mean, unless you count all the things that do 2 damage as pieces of the combo. But as far as the actual Ascension or the Mind Crank itself, haven't seen either of those. I haven't seen them in hand either.
Right. It seems to do, but it just seems to be doing all right on its own, you know?
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, he's
kind of hilarious.
He didn't win game 1, though.
Right. But it's one of those things. It's one of those combos where it's like you have to build your deck around it. If you're building your deck off of every card you have, making your opponent lose 2 or more life, like
It's
you're
still
probably
good,
going to
yeah.
kill him eventually anyway.
Yeah.
And then like having the combo, like having the turn 1 Blood Chief Ascension is kind of just icing on the cake, you know. It's like, yeah, I also have this thing that can come out of nowhere. It seems pretty relevant.
What do you think of Phyrexian Obliterator or actually in general?
Man, I watched it in a blue-black control deck last night at F&M, and I mean, it seemed pretty awesome in that matchup. But of course, I think by the time I tuned into that match, there was like nothing on the other guy's side of the board.
So it was just a 5/5.
It was just a 5/5, like killing him within like 3 or 4 turns. But like,
It's funny how 5/5 for 4 has become stock. You know what I mean? Juzan de Jin, was like a 5/5 for 4 that was like you lose a life every turn.
Right.
And that was huge. Like
Huge.
When I saw Balduvian Hordes, which was just the red version, a 5/5 for red 2, and when it came into play, I think you discarded a card.
Discard a card at random?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the actual.
or was it
text,
discard
yeah.
2 cards? Look it up. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. Well, of course. Okay.
You got. Yeah.
Yeah. Discard a card at random. Now, what you're thinking of is, well, first of all, Balduvian Horde was huge. I loved that card because I was like, it's Juzan de Jin, and I play red, and it's red. This is great. And Juzan de Jin's like $75 or something. This is obviously huge, going to be this awesome card. Anyway, but then Wrathy Dragon came out in Tempest, and that was it was a 5/5 flyer for red 2. When it comes into play, sacrifice it unless you sacrifice 2 mountains. So, like, I was happily sacrificing 2 mountains to play
Joey
Wrathy
probably
Dragon.
killed me with Wrathy Dragon about 100 times. Maybe more.
That was the one card in Tempest that I wanted really bad, and I opened it in my first pack. I was so excited. That was like the one time I think that ever
Hooked
happened
for
to
life.
me. Right? Yeah. Well,
Hooked for life.
I remember it was like the day the set came out. We went up to Legends in Towson. It was in the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but what I'm getting at was now a 5/5 for 4. People are like,
I could see play.
yeah, Spellbreaker Behemoth and things like that. Like when it was Spellbreaker 5/4 or. I feel like it was a 5/5, but Rumbling Slum. Yeah, it was a 5/5.
5/5 for 4 that can't be countered, and it's just ridiculous.
Right. What's that? Yeah, that's what I just was talking about.
Right.
Spellbreaker. Then I said Rumbling Slum. Yeah. So we're just saying like 5/5 for 4 just seems like people are like shrug. And Phyrexian Obliterator now, I think people look at it and go, it's a 5/5 for 4 black. Kind of tough to play. And I don't block anyway, so what do I care? Like, it's just shrug. But I really like it in kind of a control deck against an aggro deck. Like, good luck attacking. Aadil leads with a swamp and no play. Dean, same thing with a Lava Claw Reaches. Much more forgiving to not play a card off of a tapped land. Aadil, second turn, has a Colostria Highborn, and Dean plays a Blackcleave Cliffs and a Spellskite.
Highborn's one of those cards I've always had like a lot of trouble making work for me.
Yeah.
It's just blocks with the. I guess is he setting something up here? He's like attack, and it looked like he just went, I'm gonna block it.
Arc Trail, 2/1. Yeah. Seems fine. So, Arc Trail takes out Dean's Spellskite. So Dean now with Mountain and a Goblin Guide for this turn. And in with the Goblin Guide, Aadil reveals a Lightning Bolt on top of his deck, so no value from the guide. And passes the turn, Aadil untaps, draws a Lightning Bolt, and has the opportunity to play a second Highborn, I believe, in his hand. Really may want to just hold back on that for now, depending on what other kind of aggressive creatures he can play. He cracks his Marshflaps.
There's little planes.
Yeah, that would be a surprise. Plains Luminarch Ascension.
What? Nah, it's a swamp.
So, Aadil with Swamp, Dragon Skull Summit, taps the 2 swamps for there's the second Highborn. So, it doesn't look like he has a lot of other creatures in hand. He's got Go for the Throat, Lightning Bolt, which we saw him draw. Another red card, which I believe may be Hero of Oxid Ridge, and something else. So, right now he doesn't have the mana to play a hero, and I'm not sure what the last black card there is.
I'm gonna force him to use that.
Yeah, so Lightning Bolt for your second Highborn, and Aadil decides to gain some life off of it. Dean now with 4 lands goes Mountain Goblin Guide for the second turn in a row. In with 2 Goblin Guides, Doomblade on top of Aadil's library, tapped out, takes 4, and a Stagger Shock for Aadil's other Colostria Highborn. So Dean just super aggressive right now. Aadil passes the turn. Now we know he's got Go for the Throat and Doomblade in his hand now, but he's only got 3 lands, so he can only take out one of those guides. Obviously he wants to wait and see if he can get some value out of it. Dean activates the Lava Claw Reaches and swings. No value off of the Goblin Guide when Aadil reveals Vampire Lacerator off the top. So Goblin Guide has given him nothing but some damage, nothing but hurting happening for Aadil right now.
And his combo has been entirely irrelevant.
Yeah, Dean's combo has been entirely irrelevant.
The combo
right?
hasn't even appeared.
Aadil playing a Doomblade, trying to decide. Yeah, hits the Goblin Guide, obviously, and Lightning Bolt. I forgot he had that for the Lava Claw Reaches. So stems the bleeding there a little bit. Stops the bleeding with some removal, but Dean still has 1 Goblin Guide in play. Aadil plays a Vampire Lacerator, which we just saw on top of his deck, and Dean has an Arc Trail for it. And again, in with the Goblin Guide, revealing Gatekeeper of Malakir. So that's going to help get rid of that Goblin Guide next turn. If Aadil chooses not to play Go for the Throat, saves that, but plays Gatekeeper of Malakir. Dean sacrifices his Goblin Guide, so now we've got Dean with 4 lands in play, passes the turn to Aadil, who has 3 lands and a Gatekeeper in play. Dean is at 15 life and Aadil at 8. Aadil swings in with the Gatekeeper of Malakir, putting Dean down to 13. Aadil with his 4th land. And looking to dig his heels back in. Dean draws, passes the turn. Gatekeeper in for Aadil.
Dean checks, he does in fact have Threshold.
Aadil confirms.
See?
So there's a Blackcleave Cliff from Aadil. So Dean now just in top deck mode, not able to do much these last couple turns to see if this changes. No, it passes the turn. So Dean with 4 lands in play, Aadil with 5 lands and a Gatekeeper. Just drew a Burst Lightning, which could be relevant. I want to say that's Hero of Oxid Ridge.
Yeah, it is.
It looks like
I can tell, yeah, it is.
And then we're going to see it right now. So
Drop it
there's
down.
Hero Locks and Ridge.
And it quickly gets Volt Charge. I believe
Yeah,
it's
Volt Charge takes out the hero. Good call. So definitely necessary.
It's a tight match.
It's tight. Dean looking like he's not doing much over there, but the Volt Charge helps just slow things down at least. Aadil again in with the Gatekeeper. So now Dean at 7 life, Aadil at 8 life. Aadil passes a turn. Dean off the top of his deck, plays a Mountain, passes a turn.
Jeez.
Mountain, I'm sure, was not what he was looking for. Pulse Tracker from Aadil, or just drawn off the top of his deck anyway. Gatekeeper in for another 2. And here's a Pulse Tracker. Yeah, there it is.
To the main event stage. $10 draft number 3. Come on to the main event stage. Judge George is going to get you started.
With that Burst Lightning, Aadil can win next turn if... actually, he can win next turn without the Pulse Tracker, but...
Burst Lightning, you mean?
I mean, without the Pulse Tracker, he could still win next turn with the Burst Lightning. That's
Right.
what I mean.
Yes.
And Dean looks like he played a land and passed a turn.
Jeez. Well, we
I don't know if
did not get to see this combo.
No. Looks like in for 3, put you to 2, Burst Lightning. That's it. Yeah. He had a mental misstep, 2 swamps, and something else in his hand that I didn't get to see. That is Dean. So unfortunately, cranked that Soldier Boy.